Fairies are no plush toys.
Good.
Let's find out what she hides more than humor and sharp claws. Like and subscribe if you like the story.
Em nuzzled against him, finding the familiar spot against his chest where she'd been sleeping the last few nights. Her breathing slowed, body relaxing into the afterglow. Then a shift. Heat building again, low in her belly, restless. She moved against him, small movements at first, testing. Her hips pressed closer, seeking friction. A quiet grunt of frustration escaped her. She grabbed his shoulder and dragged him over her in one fluid motion. No hesitation, all want.
Go on. Make more magic. I need it.
Jax giggled. Actual giggle, warm and surprised, and nuzzled her ear, breath hot against orange fur. She guided him with her hand, positioning, then, a light grunt when he sank in.
Slow.
Careful.
Good or bad? Just tell.
Em moved her hips experimentally beneath him, testing the fit, the fullness.
Good. Full. Don't be careful, doesn't hurt. We're more robust than human females.
Her words stuttered into nothing when he started moving. Jax noticed quickly what made her squirm, short, deep movements rather than long ones. He adjusted, watching her face, reading her body. She moved with him, not passive, not waiting. Her hips hunted upward, meeting each thrust with purpose. She pushed hard, face scrunched in concentration, chasing sensation. She was much more active than he'd expected, making it a dance, a negotiation. Each movement answered and adjusted. Be coiled tight around both their legs, pulsing. He shifted weight to one elbow and slid his free hand between them, finding the sensitive spot he'd learned earlier.
That's cheating.
Her words broke apart into sounds. Half-formed syllables, ragged breaths.
I can't take it much longer.
She went rigid. Hips jerked upward, stiff like a plank, every muscle coiled tight. A grunt forced from her throat. Then she released, a long series of contractions, rhythmic and powerful, her whole body surrendering to it. The sensation tipped him over the edge, days of suppression, one held careful in check, now flowing between them in waves. Em went limp beneath him, boneless. He hovered on his elbows, breathing hard, starting to shift his weight off her. She grabbed him before he could move, smile breaking across her face.
Stay. Lay down, I won't die.
She grabbed him around the ears, gentle despite her strength, and kissed him. Deep, unhurried, tasting salt and satisfaction. Jax lowered himself carefully, trying not to crush her, but she just pulled him closer, apparently meaning what she said about being robust.
I have never exploded like that, strong explosive, brain turned to mush. You did not joke when you said you know how females work. My engineer, solving puzzles. Mine included.
Jax huffed a laugh against her shoulder, still catching his breath.
You're a particularly good puzzle, with very clear feedback.
Em hummed agreement, fingers tracing patterns through his hair. Be unwound slowly from their legs and draped across their hips, warm weight, grounding presence.
I didn't know it could be like this. With someone.
Jax shifted just enough to see her face. Flushed, relaxed, eyes half closed.
It's different when you trust someone, when you want them to stay after.
Her throat worked. She blinked rapidly, then laughed. Embarrassed by almost crying. Two bodies, tangled in the heat of old sheets, sweat cooling, laughter fading into a huss. Em pressed her face to Jax's chest, tail draped over his thigh, both of them weightless in the soft hum of the ship. This was trust, built day by day, earned the hard way. She traced a slow spiral on his skin. He squeezed her hand, steady as always. If you want to know how two strays like these ever found each other, how a half-wild Ferris and a ship's medic with too many scars learned to share a bed and a home, you'll have to start at the beginning, before the trust, Before the afterglow, back when the Horizon Alpha still felt empty and the universe was colder by one. The Horizon Alpha was a retrofitted scout ship, compact, scarred, and perpetually half-finished. What had once been purely functional now carried signs of habitation: mismatched cushions wedged into the co-pilot seat, plants in salvaged containers catching grow light on the engineering console, a quilt draped over the gunner's nest that hadn't held ammunition in years. Jax had been turning the rust bucket into a home. Slowly, piece by piece, mostly alone. He moved through the morning routine with practiced efficiency, coffee brewing in the galley, protein bar unwrapped one-handed while reviewing the cargo manifest. Medical supplies. Always medical supplies. The Outer Reach colonies paid decent credits for fast, reliable transport, and Jax had a reputation for both. Former battle medic. Field engineer. The kind of pilot who'd patch your hull and your crew before asking about payment.
You're staring at the empty bunk again. It's been 6 months, Jax. She's not coming back.
Jax didn't answer immediately. His fingers traced the edge of the fold-down table where Mira used to sit, feet tucked under her, complaining about the recycled air and the endless silence between stations. She'd hated the isolation, loved him enough to endure it, until the plague colony rescue, until she didn't come back.
I know, Zed. I'm not. I'm just thinking. She would have liked the plants.
She would have. And she would have told you to stop living like a hermit in a flying toolbox. Cerolia Station in 72 hours. You could, look.
Jax exhaled, sipped his coffee. The ship hummed around him, warmer now than it had been when Mira was alive, when he'd treated it like transport instead of home. Maybe Zed was right. Maybe it was time to stop being alone. The Horizon Alpha sailed on through the quiet dark. Behind it, grief, slow healing, a ship becoming something softer. Ahead, Cerolia Station, spinning bright against the void. And a girl with a sign.
Docking complete. Bay 7, as requested. Cargo manifest transmitted. You've got 4 hours before the medical shipment needs to move.
Jax sealed his jacket and grabbed the datapad. Cerolia Station was mid-sized, big enough for decent supply runs, small enough that station security didn't ask too many questions about where a lone hauler had been. The concourse smelled like recycled air and fry oil, the usual mix of crews rotating through. He moved through the crowd with practiced ease, nodding to a few familiar faces, other haulers, a repair tech who'd patched his landing strut last year. The cargo office was 2 levels up. He'd grab the shipment authorization, maybe hit the station cantina for something that wasn't protein bars. Then back to the ship. Same as always. Except, near the maintenance corridor junction, someone had set up against the wall. Not begging. Not selling. Just sitting. Backpack beside her. Knees drawn up. A hand-lettered sign propped on her lap. Jack slowed. Ferris. That much was obvious. The tail coiled around one ankle, the slight points to her ears, the orange fur just visible at her collar and wrists. Almost human otherwise. Slim build, maybe 155 centimeters, compact and wiry in the way of people who'd learned to move fast in tight spaces. Her clothes were worn but functional, mechanic's pants with long tool straps, a leather jacket that had seen better years, scuffed boots that had walked a lot of decks. Hair pulled back with what looked like a repurposed napkin. Definitely not fresh off a passenger liner. Then he saw the patch on her chest. Dirt rat. Hand-stitched. Probably self-assigned. Jax felt the corner of his mouth twitch. She wasn't young, not a kid looking for adventure. Maybe mid-20s, close to his own age. Old enough to have made choices that led to sitting on a station floor with a sign. Old enough to know what she was asking for. He should keep walking. Cargo to pick up. Schedule to maintain. The Horizon was starting to feel like home, but it was still a one-person operation. Except it wasn't. Not really. Not since Mira. And Zed had been right. Living like a hermit in a flying toolbox wasn't sustainable. The girl looked up, orange eyes, bright, alert, scanning him with the same careful assessment he was giving her. Not afraid, not aggressive either, which was unusual for Ferris in his experience, just watchful. Her tail twitched once, a small movement, almost curious. Jax made up his mind. Maybe she could help with the horizon. Maybe he could help her get wherever she was going. Maybe they could both use someone to talk to between stations. He adjusted his jacket and walked over. And watched the human approach. Tall, broad-shouldered but not heavy. Work jacket, cargo pants, boots that had seen real use. Medic's kit clipped to his belt. She recognized the configuration. His face was kind, tired, maybe. Lines around his eyes that came from squinting at readouts and worry, not anger. Her tail, coiled a little tighter around her ankle. Cautious. Waiting. Jax stopped a respectful distance away and put out his hand.
I'm Jax. I have work. Plenty of rooms. You can stay as long as you wish, or hop off at the next point of interest on my route.
That was direct. Em blinked up at him, her hand halfway to his before she caught herself. No negotiation. No questions about skills or references. Just an offer. She took his hand, calloused, warm, steady grip, and let him pull her to her feet. Up close, she could see the silver threading his dark hair at the temples, the faint scar across his knuckles. Field medic scars. She knew those. Her voice came out softer than intended, almost musical against the station's mechanical hum.
So what do you do? What should I expect? Strapped to the bulkhead and whipped before breakfast?
She grinned, letting the mischief show in her eyes. Testing. Pushing slightly to see where his boundaries were. Be flicked at her ankle, amused. Jax's eyebrows went up. Then he laughed, a genuine sound, rusty from disuse.
Well, that can be arranged if you like, but it's not my regular mornings. I prefer bacon and eggs. Coffee. A friendly chat.
Heat flooded Em's face. She could feel her ears turning pink, the flush visible even through the orange fur at her neck. Be wound tight around her leg, suddenly shy. She dropped her gaze to her boots.
Hey, it was a joke. I know. I'm just not used to friendly right now.
Jax hesitated only a moment before reaching out. His fingers, careful and deliberate, lifted her chin slightly, just enough that she had to look at him instead of her toes.
Hey, I don't treat people badly. I help. Don't hurt. I need help turning the horizon into a flying home. There's plenty to do for that to happen. We can work on it during the dead time between humanitarian outposts, shuffling supplies.
Her reaction was immediate. Her tail, unwound from her leg and reached for his hand. Not fast, not grabbing. More like a hug. Gentle pressure wrapping around his wrist and palm, warm and surprisingly strong. Em's blush deepened, spreading down her neck.
Sorry, B is direct. I can't control it the way I want to. Or not.
Jax paused. The station noise had faded. Not gone, exactly, but distant, like someone had wrapped them in a blanket of quiet. The crowd moving past seemed less aware of them somehow, eyes sliding over their corner, without registering. He looked down at the tail coiled around his hand, then back at Em.
Do you do that or is it B?
He touched the tail carefully. Soft fur over firm muscle, surprisingly expressive. It tightened slightly, almost a squeeze, at the contact.
I don't mind B being clingy. At all. From what I know, Ferris tails are almost a separate entity, right?
Ferris have limited psychic powers, mostly reading states of mind and emotions or projecting protection so others walk past without noticing them. Old evolutionary defense, hiding from predators, like she's doing now.
Jax looked at Em's chest patch again, then at the collar where the voice had come from.
Em, is it? Who's that talking?
Em's breathing had steadied slightly, though he still clung to Jax's hand like it was the only solid thing in the station.
My assistant, Gila. She helps me with languages, I can only speak standard, and I've worked in a lot of places where communication is hard. So I created Gila. She connects to our homeworld network. Also helps with work. She's a bit snarky and doesn't know when to shut up. Always.
Jax felt the warmth of B around his hand, saw the guarded hope in M's orange eyes, heard the sass in Gila's voice still muttering something about understatement from the caller. This was going to be interesting. Good interesting.
I think this is going to be fun, Em. Let's go on board if you feel safe with me.
M went still for a moment, not frozen, just listening. Feeling. Jax felt a faint tingle against his mind, like a butterfly wing brushing thought. Gentle, respectful, asking permission instead of forcing. Then it faded. The pressure around them released, the protective field dissolving like mist. Station noise flooded back, voices, footsteps, the hum of ventilation. B loosened slightly around Jax's hand, but didn't let go.
Yes. I don't feel anything threatening about you. The opposite, actually. B likes you too, it seems, which is positive.
She touched his hand, the one B wasn't wrapped around, the one still lingering near her shoulder from when he'd lifted her chin. Her fingers were small, calloused at the tips from tool work, warm against his knuckles. Jack smiled, a real one, the kind he hadn't felt in 6 months.
Come on then. Let me show you the horizon. She's not much yet, but she's getting there.
Em picked up her backpack with her free hand. B finally, reluctantly, unwound from Jax's wrist and coiled back around her waist, still close, still watchful, but trusting now. They walked together toward docking bay 7. Behind them, a hand-lettered sign left against the wall. Ahead, a ship becoming a home. And 2 people who'd been alone long enough. The crew quarters were larger than M expected, standard double occupancy conversion, retrofitted for comfort over efficiency. A proper bed instead of a bunk. Wardrobe with actual hanging space. A small desk bolted near the viewport, tools already organized in magnetic strips. And on the corner shelf, a plant. M tilted her head, studying it. The plant tilted back. Not wind, not ship movement. The fuzzy purple leaves oriented toward her like tiny satellite dishes tracking a signal. B uncoiled from her waist immediately, stretching toward the pot with the focused intensity of a predator spotting prey. B's tip, the last 6 inches that moved independent of her conscious thought, prodded gently at a leaf. The leaf curled inward, then slowly unfurled again. B prodded again. The plant responded again. M couldn't help the smile spreading across her face.
Does it see somehow?
Jack stood in the doorway, watching B's careful investigation of the plant's tolerance for poking. M glanced back at him, still smiling.
B is heat and touch sensitive at the tip, like a snake, maybe? And it hitchhikes on my vision somehow. But it has almost a mind of its own. Sometimes an agenda, that's my subconscious thought.
B stopped investigating the plant mid-poke. The tail swung around, smooth, purposeful, and oriented on Jax's tool belt. Specifically, the medical pouch clipped to his left hip. B stretched, sniffed, actually sniffed, the tip flaring slightly like tasting air, then withdrew. Heat flooded M's face, spreading down her neck to the orange fur at her collar.
I think I need some help fixing a claw.
Jax's eyes tracked to her left hand automatically, field medic reflex, cataloging injury before conscious thought. Paw-hand hybrid. Soft pads, retractable claws, opposable thumb, grippy digits built for precision work. And 1 claw on her index finger broken halfway down, pulp exposed, the quick visible as a darker line beneath translucent keratin.
We can do that, of course. And I think you need better clothes as well. We can print anything you need later. Coffee first, and we can look at that claw.
Not infected yet. Recent. Maybe a day old at most. High-impact break, stress fracture pattern radiating from the strike point. From punching someone. Hard. The galley smelled like recycled air and old coffee grounds, lived in, not sterile. Jax moved through the space with practiced efficiency. Water heating, grounds measured, mugs retrieved from magnetic clips. Em hopped onto the large prep table, legs dangling, boots not quite reaching the deck. Her gaze swept the galley, clean but worn, everything bolted or magnetized, a space designed for function that someone had tried to make homey. Mismatched mugs, a small herb planter over the sink, photos stuck to the coolant panel with tape.
You're kind.
Her voice barely rose above the coffee maker's burble.
Nothing I'm used to in these shitholes.
Jax looked at her patch again, the hand-stitched fuck around find out, then at the broken claw, the old bruises fading to yellow-green beneath orange fur at her wrists.
I can see that. How did the guy feel after that punch?
Em's ears flicked back, then forward. Heat crept up her neck again.
How did you? Well, he was an asshole. Poked at my breasts when I passed. Refused to pay me for work I'd done, 2 weeks reconfiguring a drive, promised payment twice. Then after I fired up the drive, he tried to stun me. For sale in the market, I presume.
Her hands, both of them, broken claw and all, clenched briefly on the table edge. Be coiled tight around her waist.
I kicked him as hard as I could and punched him in the face with all the might I had. And left. Many of these stations see faring girls as exotic plush pets.
Jax set the coffee pot down with deliberate care, the kind of care that came from not trusting his grip when anger spiked.
Well, I don't. You're a person, not a pet. I would not like to stand on the receiving end when you get angry.
He chuckled. Low, rusty sound. Pouring coffee into 2 mismatched mugs.
If I'd been there, I'd have killed him and put him in the trash compactor. So you have nothing to fear here. Let's look at that claw.
He looked up from the medical pouch he was opening. Tears tracked down M's face, silent, glinting in the galley's overhead light. Not sobbing, just leaking, like a dam with hairline cracks finally giving way. Jax reached out slowly, telegraphing, giving her time to pull back. She didn't flinch. His thumb, calloused, warm, wiped the tear from her cheek with the careful precision of someone used to working on damaged things.
Life is tough. I've tried all of it, I think. So let's make things better, not worse.
He sat on the chair beside the table, eye level with her now. Medical pouch open, tweezers, microcutter, synthetic nail patches, finger tube bandages in 3 sizes.
The claw is broken and parts of the pulp are visible. I can remove the broken claw, then we put a fake nail on the pulp. Then make a proper finger bandage you can wear until the real claw grows out. How does that sound?
Be unwound from her waist and wrapped around his arm. Gentle pressure, warm weight, trusting.
Go on.
Her hand found his shoulder. Tentative at first, just fingertips, testing, then settling more solidly. Palm warm through his shirt, claws the unbroken ones retracted carefully against fabric. Jax worked with the slow precision of someone who'd done this 1,000 times in worse conditions. Tweezers catching the edge of broken keratin. Microcutter scoring the stress fracture line. Gentle scraping where skin still clung to the break. M winced when he lifted the final piece free, sharp inhale, ears flattening briefly, but shook her head when he paused, eyes asking permission to continue.
You're gentle. I would hurt myself trying to do that.
She watched his hands. Steady, scarred at the knuckles, surprisingly careful for their size.
Where did you learn to fix Farron's?
Jax's hands paused, synthetic nail patch halfway to her finger.
Not Farron's. Vulpines. I was a battle medic in the war, patching up broken bodies of all sorts. Field medics don't care what we patch up. If it's hurt and breathes, we fix what we can.
He shivered, just once, shoulders tensing against memory. And felt M's hand move from his shoulder to his hair. Gentle, stroking, the same careful touch he'd used on her broken claw. That light psychic touch again, not invasive, not pushing, just soothing, like cool water on a burn he'd learned to ignore.
I like that. The care.
Jax secured the synthetic nail, wrapped the finger bandage with practiced efficiency. When he finished, M's other hand, the uninjured one, pressed a warm mug of coffee into his palm.
Do you have anything to eat? I haven't eaten since I punched that guy.
We have chicken substitute and mashed potatoes. Sort of. If that works for you, M.
Jack stood, moving to the cooling unit.
Zed knows everything. My friendly AI sidekick. If you need anything, and I'm not around, just ask him.
M slid off the table and opened the cabinet, scanning for utensils. Not asking where things were. Not waiting for instruction. Just helping. Jax paused, chicken substitute container in hand, watching her move through his galley with the efficiency of someone used to making themselves useful. Not the common tell me what to do crew member. Someone who saw work and did it. Two people who'd been alone too long. Making coffee. Finding forks. Building something that felt dangerously close to home. The Horizon Alpha detached from the station with a gentle thunk. Magnetic clamps releasing, maneuvering thrusters firing in controlled bursts. Autopilot handled departure protocols while Jax and M cleared meal containers, moving around each other in the galley with the careful choreography of new roommates learning boundaries. Jax rinsed the last plate, watching the station shrink in the viewport. Standard departure. Clean trajectory. Nothing requiring his attention for the next 6 hours minimum. He turned to M, considering.
Should we fix you better clothes?
M's hand went to her worn sweater, threadbare at the elbows, hem fraying, the fabric so thin her undershirt showed through in places. She patted it like reassuring an old friend.
I have some.
Jax's gaze tracked to the patch on her shoulder, the hand-stitched M, dirt rat that she wore like armor.
That's not what matters right now. You can hang that set in the wardrobe, and we'll make something better.
He pointed at the patch.
That's not nice, even if you made it yourself. If you go in there.
He gestured toward the 3D fabrication booth in the locker room, visible through the open hatch.
I can scan you so we get fitting clothes.
M looked at him for a long moment, eyes bright, ears forward, tail swaying slowly. Assessing. Then her mouth quirked into a smile.
Arguing doesn't seem to work on you, does it?
Nope. Not when I can do better. Just punch the red button when you're in there, and Zed will scan your contours.
Jax turned to the fabricator terminal, loading templates. Base layers first, thermal regulation, moisture wicking. Sweater next, durable weave, reinforced at stress points. Mechanics trousers with cargo pockets and knee pads. Tail cutouts. Important. He adjusted the pattern, creating a reinforced opening with snap closure. The scanner buzzed, high-frequency hum vibrating through the deck plating. Jax loaded her profile as it populated. Height, proportions, body map rendering in wireframe on his screen. He heard soft footfalls padding out of the locker room. Jax turned to show her the clothing templates on screen, and froze. M stood 3 meters away, wearing knickers. Only knickers. Nothing else. And a mischievous smile that could have powered the ship's reactor.
Oh, sorry.
He turned back to the computer so fast, he nearly knocked the keyboard loose. Heat flooded his face, crawled down his neck.
Maybe you should put something on.
M padded closer. He could hear her footfalls, feel her presence behind him. Her hands settled, one on the chair back, one on his shoulder.
Warm. Steady.
Not seductive, just present.
No. I don't feel that I have to. You're not dangerous, and Farrens aren't shy. Look at me, you might help me fix this, too.
She shifted, angling her shoulder into his peripheral vision. Even without looking directly, he could see the angry red streak cutting across her shoulder blade.
Farrens are pack animals with a human base.
Shut up, Zed.
Jax turned to face her. Medic assessment first. Slim build, proportional curves, healthy muscle tone beneath sleek fur. And the burn, plasma scored, 2nd degree at least, the kind that hurt like hell and scarred if not treated.
Doesn't look pleasant. Plasma burn.
Yeah. Made a hole in my other sweater, too. We had no supplies in that shithole.
Jax gestured to the screen.
First, look here.
M studied the clothing templates: base layer, sweater, trousers with tail opening. She nodded.
Better than anything I've had lately. I need something for my chest.
Jax glanced up. Her ear tips glowed faintly pink. She has feelings after all, he mused. Not just mischief, actual vulnerability beneath the boldness. M leaned over his shoulder, scrolling through undergarment templates.
Here. Make it stiffer. Thicker.
I freeze.
Jax pushed print and turned toward the medical supply table, keeping his back to her.
Let's fix that burn.
Jax. Don't turn away.
He paused, hands hovering over antiseptic wipes.
I feel hurt. Or like, not enough. Farrens are a little silly that way. I like feeling seen, not discarded. And you can't hurt me by liking what you see. What you're doing is being human polite without reason.
Jax looked at the picture on the wall, old photo, worn edges, woman with dark hair, and a crooked smile. Then he turned, not to the table, to M.
Who is she?
My former partner. She died last year. You remind me of her. She was very direct. Could sleep on the couch without clothes or pad around in underwear. So yes, I'm human, and I tend to respect naked people.
Sorry. I didn't know.
That's history, not now. And that relationship wasn't good anyway.
He took an antiseptic wipe and a long strip of biogel, approaching with the careful slowness of offering trust. M stood still, letting him work. Jax cleaned the burn with gentle pressure, thumbing biogel along the plasma score. His gaze cataloged details automatically: sleek human appearance beneath fine fur, velvet matte patches at intimate areas, the way light caught in her eyes when she noticed him noticing.
Yes, we're furry like Vulpines, but more velvet. Here, feel.
She took his hand and guided it to her hip. Incredibly soft, like cashmere, warm and dense, the kind of texture that made fingers want to linger. Jax relaxed incrementally. She wasn't naked for seduction or manipulation. She was testing him, yes, but also just being herself. Comfortable. The only one awkward here was him. And she'd punched the other guy because he'd been evil, objectifying, predatory. Somehow he liked both her boldness and the claws that came with it. The fabricator chimed. Jax retrieved the underwear set and handed it to her. M tried on the sports bra, adjusting straps, testing range of motion. She looked at him sporadically, checking his reactions, seeing if he'd look away again. He didn't. She was so calm, unbothered by his presence.
This is good. Warm. Supportive. And B likes it, too.
Her tail brushed against the new fabric, testing texture.
I guess your pulse will go down when I have some clothes on.
Her eyes glittered. That same spark from the station, the one that said she knew exactly what she was doing.
What can I do to this rust bucket of yours, except for using resources?
And just like that, the moment shifted. Not awkwardness forgotten, acknowledged, understood, moved past. Two people figuring out how to share space without pretense. Jax returned to the environmental bay carrying coffee and a protein bar, the kind of interruption that felt like care, not intrusion. He'd left M there an hour ago with a schematic and a nod of permission. Fix what you want. The atmospheric generator hummed wrong. Had for months. Functional enough to ignore, broken enough to irritate. Now someone was doing something about it. He found her halfway inside the maintenance cabinet, just legs visible, boots braced against the deck, tail swaying for balance. And muttering.
Broken crap held together with hope and spite, I swear. No, B, that coupling, the brass one. Whoever installed this last didn't torque the bolts, just vibed it and prayed.
B coiled beside the cabinet opening, tip hovering over a scatter of tools like a curator selecting the next exhibit piece. The tail prodded a sonic wrench, tested its weight, then nudged it toward the cabinet entrance. Jax crouched and picked up the wrench, reaching into the cabinet where muttering emerged. Warm fingers brushed his when she took the tool. Deliberate contact, acknowledgement.
Thanks.
Jack sat down against the bulkhead, coffee in hand, just listening. His heart felt better. Not fixed better. Like a system finally getting maintenance after running on backup power too long. M's voice floated out, half conversation with B, half narration of repair work.
Okay, filter housing is cross-threaded, someone force this. B, we need the small pick, yeah, that one. I'm going to back it out slow, slow. Got it. Look at this, the seal is melted. No wonder the humidity readings were shit. How did this even keep pressure?
Jax sipped coffee, watching B retrieve tools before M asked for them, anticipating need, responding to subconscious intent. The tail moved like an extension of her problem-solving, testing weight, checking clearance, offering options.
Oh, you beautiful thing, there's a spare seal in the parts drawer. Someone actually stocked this properly. B, can you, grab that case.
B stretched across the deck, wrapped around a parts case, dragged it within reach of the cabinet.
Good job. You're getting really good at this.
Jax's chest loosened further, tension he hadn't realized he carried unwinding with each familiar sound. Clink. Ratchet. Satisfied hum. The rhythm of competent hands fixing broken things.
See, the seal goes in the groove like this, feel how it seats? Then we torque the housing down evenly, not just cranking one side. That's how you get even pressure distribution.
She was teaching B. Or teaching herself out loud. Or both. The way mechanics did when they worked alone too long, narrating to fill silence, to hold onto language, to remember that knowledge could be shared.
Torque it to 30 Newton meters, that should do it. 1, 2, 3, perfect. Now the filter housing threads back on, and there. Listen to that.
The generator's hum shifted, from labored wheeze to smooth purr. Jax hadn't realized how much the wrong sound had grated until the right sound replaced it. M wiggled backward out of the maintenance cabinet, emerging with grease-smudged cheeks and a satisfied grin. B coiled loosely around her waist, tips swaying gently, pleased, relaxed.
Fixed. Properly this time. Whoever installed that last was either drunk or didn't care.
Jax held out the second coffee mug he'd brought, still warm, magnetic base, keeping it from spilling.
You're good at this.
M took the mug and sat beside him against the bulkhead, shoulders touching. Just present. Close.
I like fixing things. Things don't lie or hurt you. They're just broken or not broken. And if you're patient and careful, they work again.
Jax nodded slowly.
Yeah, I get that.
They sat together, listening to the atmospheric generator purr. Two people who understood that sometimes fixing broken things was easier than fixing broken people. But being near someone who tried, who cared, made the unfixable parts hurt less. M sipped coffee, grease still on her hands, be warm against her waist. Jax's heart settled into a rhythm it hadn't found in months, or years really. Not fixed. Better. Zed had dimmed the lights to night cycle, soft blue glow from emergency strips, the kind that let eyes adjust to darkness without strain. The ship breathed around them. Engine hum, atmospheric generator per newly fixed, smooth now, the occasional tick of metal expanding and contracting with temperature shifts. Everything silent except the machinery keeping them alive. Jax lay in his bunk, staring at the ceiling, thoughts circling back to the girl next door. Girl. She'd punch him for that. Woman. Survivor. Mechanic. Someone who'd started thawing his heart without asking permission. Soft attitude but hard punches, remodeling thoughts or teeth depending on the receiver's behavior. He grinned into the darkness. He liked that about her. Mental note: don't annoy her. Then he felt it, that mysterious touch against his mind. Soft velvet warmth, familiar somehow, like the fur on her stomach when he'd helped with the biogel. Not words, just presence. Restlessness. Loneliness reaching across the bulkhead between their quarters. M twisted in her bunk, sheets tangling around her legs. The room was nice. Clean. Temperature controlled. Everything she should need. Except it was empty. B waved gently from where he coiled at the foot of her bed, trying to communicate what she already felt. He's lonely, thinking loud, restless.
Yeah, I know.
She made a decision. Bare feet on corridor mats, silent, padding steps that wouldn't wake anyone if there'd been anyone else to wake. Be followed, coiling loosely around her shoulders. She knocked. Soft. Knuckles on metal.
Cool me.
The hydraulic door hissed open. She stepped inside. His quarters, same layout as hers, but lived in. Photo on the wall. Jacket hung on a hook. Coffee mug on the small table.
Can't sleep?
No, neither can you. I felt it.
He didn't question the feeling thing. Some things you just accepted.
So, can I sleep with you? I hate being alone, even if the room is nice.
Sure. Why not? There's room.
He moved toward the bulkhead, making space. She crawled into the bunk, buffing around a little, finding the right position like a cat circling before settling. He felt her fur against his chest, soft, thin, but warmer than the room temperature. Radiant body heat through velvet texture. She wore underwear barely, a top and knickers. That was it.
You tickle.
Can't do anything about that. Sorry.
She nuzzled in closer, not seductive, just seeking warmth, contact, presence.
This is much more nice.
He moved the pillow better, giving her room, supporting her head. He felt Bee move, careful coiling around his waist, settling between them like a warm, living blanket. He moved his arm around her, not possessive, just there. She gave a deep sigh, tension draining out, body relaxing completely.
See? I didn't kill you.
She yawned, jaw cracking, breath evening out. He relaxed. Crazy girl, but cuddly. No more words were needed. After a few moments, two lonely souls had found a better spot to rest on. Without demands, without expectations, just warmth, presence, the comfort of not being alone. The ship hummed around them. The atmospheric generator purred its fixed purr. And for the first time in a long time, both of them slept. In darkness and warmth, trust settles into something solid. Not a promise, not a bargain. Just the quiet certainty that neither will be hurt tonight. Sleep finds them, soft, tangled, unafraid. But trust is never the end of the story. Tomorrow brings new choices, gentle, awkward, or bold. Where does comfort lead? What else is possible once safety is real? You'll find the next chapter, free for everyone on Patreon, where Em and Jax wake to a day that feels strangely new. For those drawn to deeper heat and grown-up tension, the adult tier opens doors best left closed in polite company. And if you're curious, if you want to see drafts, vote on turns, or help build the story itself, the creator's lair is open for you. Come shape what trust can become.